boy Fox, Necroharmonic Productions, good friend of mine, inspired me to give it a go, and here I am now, which is crazy when I think about it. I'm like, wow, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. It's fun, and I am enjoying it. We got a lot of good stuff coming out. A couple projects we're working on in the shadows. So. I met this guy, Carlos, on the street, and he had a metal shirt on, and we bullshitted on the street real quick, and we became friends and everything. And that connection right there, that dude right there knew Frank and Ephraim from this band called Decay from Jersey City, New Jersey, which it's obviously pre-incantation. So I met him, and he introduced me to those dudes from Decay, Frank and Ephraim. They were brothers. And then I got introduced into the death metal scene, the Jersey death metal scene, from them. And the first show that I went to was PUTRIFACT's first show. Prior to that, I've never went to any shows. I've never seen AC/DC. I've never seen anything. I was in Panama, so there was nothing going on down there. So when I came here, my first show was a show at G. Willikers, which was Disharmonic Orchestra, PUTRIFACT, Immolation, Agoraphobia, and a couple other bands. I think Crucifier played that night too. So that was my first show. It wasn't a huge arena show. It was just a death metal show at G. Willikers. That was my first show. I formed Ceremonium with Victor, the bass player, Rivera, which not a lot of people know that, but it was me and him that formed Ceremonium. It wasn't anybody else. You know, every other member that was in Ceremonium, we brought them in. So just to clear that up right there, that's another story. That's another episode. But that's, you know, me and Victor Rivera formed Ceremonium. Yeah. So when he, you know, obviously with here in PUTRIFACT, when I moved to Jersey, you know, I was listening to Creator and shit like that, but I hadn't heard of death metal shit besides when I went to G. Willikers. So that's what inspired me right there. Like, you know, listening to all those bands at G. Willikers show. So when we formed Ceremonium, I think at that time, what vocalist influenced me was Lee Dorian from Cathedral, with that first album that they put out. I was, you know, when I was doing the vocals on the Into the Autumn Shade, I was thinking about getting that Lee Dorian feel into the vocals, you know. Obviously Disembowelment, man, you know. My father was in the Air Force, so we used to, like, my friends used to come for the summertime to the U.S. to visit whatever relatives they had here out in the States. So what I used to do is I used to save my lunch money, and one of my friends was coming to the States, and I gave him $20, and I said, hey, bring me back 2 cassettes. Make sure the covers are fucking brutal, you know, because that's the way we did it. We didn't have nothing down there, you know. So he brought back Whiplash, Ticket to Mayhem, and I believe it was. He brought three back to me. He brought Whiplash, Ticket to Mayhem, Metallica, Jump in the Fire with the fucking demon on it, and Dark Angel, Leave Scars, if I'm not mistaken. I might be off there, but I remember those 3 tapes were the tapes that I had in Panama. So when I moved from Panama to Jersey, there was a club called Connections there. And when I moved, I was 18 years old, and I picked up what was called the East Coast Rocker. And they used to show us like all the shows in New York, New Jersey, you know. So I was like, "Fuck, there's a lot of shows in this area here." And I happened to look, and Whiplash was playing at Connections, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" So I walked to Connections, and they wouldn't let me in because I wasn't 21 years old. So that's one of my venues that I used to go a lot. Connections, Studio One. We played at Studio One a lot. There was a place called the Pipeline in Newark, which was very close to Studio One. First week I got to Jersey, I went to the mall. My mother took me to the mall, and I bought. At that time, they still had that. A lot of vinyls was still, laying around, and I bought Creator, Pleasure to Kill, at the mall. I bought Sodom, Obsessed by Cruelty on vinyl, and a couple other cassettes. I think I bought some old Metallica, like Ride the Lightning and shit like that. But those were the few very first ones that I purchased when I got to the States. I mean, being like in death metal and everything, you'd expect to, I'd pick a death metal song. But I think what comes to mind right now is probably some AC/DC, old AC/DC from like Back in Black. Actually, not one song. I would like to hear that whole album at my funeral, Back in Black. That album to me is special because when I was younger, I used to hang out with these older guys in high school, and they used to always play AC/DC, and that's when I first got into probably metal. So not one song. I think I would have the whole album, Back in Black by AC/DC, played at my funeral.